Hey there, I'm Sarah Thompson, 28 years old, living my best life in the Windy City and killing it as a marketing executive. Life was smooth until my brother Mark dropped a bomb at our family BBQ. We're having a baby, he announced, beaming with pride, his arm around his wife Melissa. Everyone was ecstatic, hugging, crying, the whole deal. Me, I was genuinely happy for them. I mean, I'm going to be an aunt. But little did I know, that was the start of my personal nightmare. It began innocently enough. Melissa started talking nonstop about organic foods and non-GMO everything. I chalked it up to new mom jitters, but then she eyed my burger like it was poison. Sarah, don't you think you should set a better example? Maybe try a salad? She smiled sweetly, but Mark's look said it all. Next thing I know, Melissa's nitpicking every part of my life. My diet, my weekend plans, even my work hours. Family should come first, Sarah. How can you support us if you're always at the office or out with friends? She'd say. I was stunned. Since when did my life become a group project? But the real kicker, my parents were nodding along like Melissa was some kind of oracle. Honey, Melissa's just trying to look out for the baby, my mom chimed in. Dad added, it's about family unity, Sarah. You understand, right? Standing there, I felt like I was in some twisted episode of The Twilight Zone. But for the sake of peace, I smiled and nodded. Sure, I'll try to make some changes. Thank God for my best friend Alex. Over coffee, I vented everything. Sarah, this is insane. You can't let them run your life like this, she exclaimed, giving me her classic "you're being an idiot" look. I sighed, stirring my latte. I know, but it's family. I'm just trying to be supportive. There's supportive, and then there's being a doormat, girl. You're towing the line. Alex shot back. She was right, of course. But what could I do? I couldn't just walk away from my family. Meanwhile, at work, there was Jake, a total dreamboat, smart and funny, and we clicked instantly. We started grabbing lunch together, and every time his eyes crinkled when he laughed, my heart did a little flip. Sarah, there's this great new restaurant opening Friday, he said one day, flashing that charming smile. Want to check it out? My heart soared, but then I heard Melissa's voice echoing in my head. Family gang night on Friday, Sarah. Don't forget. I hesitated, hating myself. I've got this family thing. Rain check. Jake looked disappointed but smiled anyway. Sure, no problem. Family first, right? As I watched him walk away, I couldn't shake the feeling that something important was slipping through my fingers. A month had passed since Melissa's pregnancy announcement, and I swear she'd become possessed. She'd gone from casually pestering me to full-on micromanaging my life. Sarah, you need to cut back on your work hours, she insisted one morning. It's not good for the baby to be around all that stress. I nearly choked on my coffee. Excuse me? How is my job affecting your baby? Melissa just gave me a condescending look. We're family now. Your negative energy affects us all. I bit my tongue, but inside I was seething. Things only got worse when I overheard her on the phone with Aunt Carol. I'm just so worried about Sarah, she said, her voice dripping with concern. You know how she is, always out partying and drinking. It's not a good influence on the baby. I was floored. I hadn't set foot in a club for months, thanks to her constant guilt tripping. The baby shower was the final straw. I spent weeks planning it, trying to be the perfect sister-in-law. But apparently, nothing was good enough for Queen Melissa. Oh, Sarah, you got soy-based dip. You know I'm avoiding soy, she complained. And these decorations, well, I suppose you did your best. I was about to snap, but Mom jumped in. Sarah, honey, maybe you should have checked with Melissa first. It's her special day after all. That's when I lost it. Her special day? I've bent over backwards trying to make her happy, and nothing is ever good enough. I shouted. The room went silent. Melissa's lip quivered, and suddenly, everyone was comforting her. How could you have said her like that? Mark hissed. Can't you see how fragile she is? I stormed out, feeling like I was losing my mind. Was I really the bad guy here? The next day, Jake found me hiding in the break room at work, eyes red from crying. Sarah, what's going on? He asked softly, his hand resting gently on mine. And just like that, everything poured out. To my surprise, Jake listened without judgment, his touch comforting. Sarah, this isn't right, and you know that. I nodded, feeling a weight lift off my shoulders. From then on, Jake became my secret escape. We'd have lunch, talk for hours, and for a while, I could forget about the chaos at home. Meanwhile, Alex was on a mission. "Sarah, something doesn't add up with Melissa," she said one day. "I've been digging, and her story's full of holes." At first, I was skeptical, but then I started noticing things. Melissa's pregnancy symptoms seemed to come and go, conveniently. One day she'd be too nauseous to move, the next, she'd be scarfing down sushi. "Isn't raw fish bad for the baby?" I asked, trying to sound innocent. Melissa shot me a glare. "Mind your own business, Sarah. Every pregnancy is different." That's when the real bombshell dropped. I bumped into Lisa, one of Melissa's former coworkers, at the grocery store. "Oh, Sarah, how are you handling Melissa's situation?" Lisa asked, her tone serious. I frowned. "You mean the pregnancy?" Lisa's eyes widened. "Oh, honey, is that what she's telling you?" Look, I shouldn't say anything, but this isn't the first time Melissa's pulled something like this. She has a history of, well, creative storytelling to get what she wants. My head spun. Could it be true? Was Melissa faking a whole thing? As I stood there, the pieces of the puzzle started to fall into place. One thing was clear. It was time to stop playing nice. Melissa had been manipulating us all, and someone needed to call her bluff. But how could I expose her without tearing my family apart? After my conversation with Lisa, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was very wrong. I decided to confront Melissa, no matter the consequences. I cornered her at our next family dinner. "Melissa, we need to talk," I said firmly. "Your behavior has been controlling and manipulative, and I'm done with it." Her eyes narrowed. "Excuse me, I'm just looking out for this family, unlike some people." By spreading lies? By trying to control my life? I snapped back. Melissa's face twisted in anger. "How dare you? After everything I've done for this family?" Our shouting match drew the attention of everyone at the table. To my surprise, Aunt Carol spoke up. "Melissa dear, Sarah might have a point. You have been a bit demanding lately," Aunt Carol said gently. For a brief moment, I saw panic flash across Melissa's face. But then she burst into tears. "I can't believe you're all ganging up on me. Don't you care about the baby?" she sobbed. Just like that, the tide turned. My parents rushed to comfort her, while Mark shot daggers at me. "Sarah, how could you?" he hissed. "Attacking a pregnant woman? I think you should leave." I stood there stunned as my family turned their backs on me, but my mother's words cut the deepest. "Until you're ready to apologize to Melissa, maybe it's best if you don't come around for a while," she said coldly. Devastated, I found myself at Jake's place that night, sobbing into his shoulder. Alex arrived shortly after, armed with a folder of documents. "Sarah, you're not going to believe this," she said, her voice grave. "I've been digging into Melissa's past. She's done this before. Multiple times." Alex laid out a trail of evidence: fake pregnancies, fraudulent schemes, manipulated relationships. My head was spinning. But how could she fool everyone? The doctors, the tests. I asked, still trying to process it all. "She's good, Sarah, really good." But this time, she slipped up, Alex explained. I felt sick. What do I do? If I expose her, I could lose my family forever. Jake took my hand, his voice gentle but firm. "Sarah, you've already lost them. They chose her over you. It's time you chose yourself." His words hit me like a brick. He was right. I've been so focused on keeping the peace that I completely lost sight of my own self-worth. "You're right," I said quietly, "but how do we prove it? They'll never believe me without solid evidence." Jake's eyes lit up with a plan. "What if we catch her in the act? Record your conversations. Gather more proof." It felt sneaky, but I was out of options. I nodded, determination replacing my doubt. "Okay, let's do it, but we need to be smart. Melissa is crafty, and one wrong move could ruin everything." Over the next few weeks, I played my part perfectly. I apologized to Melissa, pretended to fall back in line, and kept my phone recording during every interaction. "Oh, Melissa, I'm so excited for the baby. When's your next ultrasound?" "I'd love to come," I said with a smile. Actually, the doctor says too many people stress the baby. It's best if I go alone," she replied, her voice tight. "Gotcha." I also accidentally ran into more of Melissa's old acquaintances, each one revealing more of her shady past. It was exhausting, living this double life, but every time I felt like wavering, I remembered how it felt to be cast aside by my own family. That kept me going. Finally, after a month of gathering evidence, I had everything I needed: text messages, voice recordings, witness statements, a complete picture of Melissa's deception. As I sat with Jake and Alex, reviewing all the evidence, a wave of mixed emotions hit me: relief, anger, sadness, and fear. "This is it," I said, my voice shaking. "Once I do this, there's no going back. My family might never forgive me." Jake squeezed my hand, his eyes full of understanding. "They might not. But you'll have your life back, your self-respect, and us. We're not going anywhere," Jake said firmly. Alex nodded. "We've got your back, Sarah. All the way." Taking a deep breath, I steeled myself for what was to come. It was time to unravel Melissa's web of lies once and for all. Whatever happened next, I knew one thing for sure. I was done being a doormat. It was time to stand up and fight for myself. I gathered everyone at my parents' house, my heart pounding. This was it, the moment of truth. "I know you all think I'm jealous or selfish," I began, my voice steady. "But there's something you need to see." I laid everything out: the recordings, the documents, the testimonies. Melissa's face went pale as I played a recording of her admitting the pregnancy was fake. That's not me," she stammered. "She's manipulating the audio." Mark jumped to her defense. "Sarah, this is low, even for you." But as the evidence mounted, doubt crept into his eyes. Then I pulled out the clincher: medical records proving Melissa had her tubes tied years ago. "It's all lies," Melissa shrieked, but her act was crumbling fast. Mom's voice trembled. "Melissa, is this true? Have you been lying to us all this time?" Melissa's eyes darted around the room, panic setting in. Realizing she was cornered, she made a break for the door. But Jake was faster, blocking her exit. "Not so fast," he said, his tone firm. "There's more." I revealed the final bombshell: Melissa was already married and wanted for fraud in Texas. The room erupted into chaos. "You're under arrest," a voice boomed as two officers stepped into the room. Alex had tipped them off. As they cuffed Melissa, the gravity of the situation hit everyone. Mom broke down crying. Dad looked utterly shocked. And Mark, he just stared at Melissa, betrayal written all over his face. In the aftermath, rebuilding wasn't easy. Trust had been shattered, and wounds ran deep. I set clear boundaries with my family, making it clear that their past behavior wasn't acceptable. "I love you," I told him firmly, "but I won't be disrespected or manipulated again." Months passed, and I threw myself into my career, excelling like never before. Jake was my rock through it all, and our relationship only grew stronger. 1 year later, I stood in front of a mirror, admiring my engagement ring. Jake and I were planning our wedding, surrounded by true friends who had stood by us. My phone buzzed with a news alert. Melissa had been convicted and was facing years in prison for her frauds. I felt a mix of emotions: relief, vindication, and a twinge of sadness for what could have been. My relationship with my family had become cordial but distant. They were still grappling with their mistakes, and I was giving them space to do so. As I sipped my morning coffee, looking out at the Chicago skyline, I reflected on how far I had come. The old Sarah would have kept quiet, sacrificing her happiness for family peace. But I'd learned that real family, whether by blood or by choice, lifts you up, not tears you down. I was stronger now, wiser, surrounded by people who truly cared about me. The journey had been painful, but I wouldn't change it. It had led me to this moment where I finally felt free to be myself. A text from Jake popped up. "Ready for our lunch date, future Mrs. Thompson." I smiled, grabbing my coat. The future was bright, and this time, I was in control of my own story. No more letting others dictate my life or my worth. If you were in my shoes, would you have exposed Melissa's lies earlier, even if it meant potentially destroying your family relationships? Or would you have stayed quiet to keep the peace?